Predicting player outcomes in fantasy football is extremely challenging, but I'm going to attempt to predict who the top 12 scorers will be in 2024, excluding quarterbacks. Now, if you're thinking, how can you be drafting? Well, then you need to check out Underdog Fantasy. Underdog Fantasy has best ball drafts going full swing right now, all the way up until the season. They have drafts ranging from $4 to $500, with prize pools ranging from $100,000 to $15 million. That's right, $15 million in their flagship Best Ball Mania 5. If you haven't tried Underdog Fantasy yet, this is the time to do it. Just make sure when you sign up, you use our promo code ENDGAME and take advantage of this special offer. They're going to give you a special pick plus up to $250 in bonus cash. Go to UnderdogFantasy.com, sign up using promo code ENDGAME, start drafting right now, and take advantage of this special offer. And number one, it's got to be Christian McCaffrey. The argument for Christian McCaffrey is always the same. If he stays healthy, he's going to dominate. And look, he stayed healthy for 2 straight years. Even back in the day when he was at Carolina, he dominated. It doesn't matter the team. It doesn't matter the QB. Christian McCaffrey is just one of those guys where if he's on the field and healthy, you know he's going to dominate. And it helps that he's in this 49ers offense. A great offense, a great situation for a running back. No reason to think Christian McCaffrey won't be the number one scorer again in 2024. Of course, if he stays healthy. Now, I know there is some risk that a running back with his much wear and tear could miss games, but it's a risk you got to take here because the upside is so great. Now, number 2, I'm going with last year's number 1 wide receiver, CeeDee Lamb. Had an absolutely phenomenal season, over 1,700 receiving yards, led the league in receptions, also had enough touchdowns to make him obviously great in fantasy. And when you look at his situation this year, I think it might actually be better because the Cowboys did nothing on offense here. They let Tony Pollard walk and replaced him with Ezekiel Elliott, which means this run game that was already bad is only going to get worse. They didn't add anybody of consequence as far as pass catchers go. This is a team that could legitimately lead the league in pass attempts, and it's all CeeDee Lamb here. Yeah, Jake Ferguson, I like him. He'll get his, but CeeDee Lamb is going to be the number 1, number 2, number 3 option in this offense. Would be no surprise if once again he led the league in receiving and receiving yards, and was even better somehow in 2024 than he even was in 2023. And at number 3, I think Tyreek Hill can be better in 2024 than he was in 2023, which is crazy to say because he just had his 2nd consecutive season with over 1,700 receiving yards. But if you look at it from weeks 1 through 13 last year, he was dominating fantasy football. He was averaging 26 points a game, which was 2 more than Christian McCaffrey. That is a significant difference. 2 points per game more than CMC? That's absurd. Of course, in week 14, he had that ankle injury. Kind of let down again over the last few games with that ankle injury. But if he's fully healthy and good to go, no reason to think he's not going to have a 3rd straight 1,700-yard season. And maybe this year he actually does push for 2,000 yards. I know there's a little bit of risk here. He's in his 30s now. Maybe he loses a little bit of a step. Maybe he starts to slow down. But we've seen no sign of that so far. And until we do, we have to assume he's going to be the same old cheetah. So I've got him at number 3. Now at number 4, I'm going with Justin Jefferson. I know some people are concerned about the quarterback situation here. Is it going to be Nick Mullins? Is it going to be Sam Darnold? Is it going to be the rookie J.J. McCarthy? And to that I say, I don't think I really care. Look at the last 4 games last year with Nick Mullins. He scored at least 15 PPR points in 3 of those games, over 20 PPR points in 2 of those games, and even had a 30-point game with Nick Mullins. Justin Jefferson is about the only wide receiver I can think of that is absolutely quarterback-proof because he's just such an insanely good talent, but also he's in such an insanely good situation. Head coach Kevin O'Connell wants to throw the ball, and he understands that Justin Jefferson is a weapon that no other team has, and he relentlessly tries to get him the ball. It's such a refreshing thing to see a head coach try to get his best player the ball over and over. So no matter who starts at quarterback for the Vikings this year, it's going to be fine for Justin Jefferson. No, maybe he doesn't have the ceiling he had with Kirk Cousins, but he still has a plenty high ceiling. I've got him at 4. Now at number 5, this may be a bit of a surprise unless you've been watching me all offseason. I'm going with the Sun God, Amon-Ra St. Brown. I think he's ready to make that CeeDee Lamb type of leap this year. That leap we saw last year where CeeDee Lamb became the number 1 wide receiver in fantasy. Amon-Ra St. Brown is my dark horse pick to be that guy this year. Just like CeeDee Lamb, he's gotten better in every category that matters every year of his career. Targets, receptions, yards, touchdowns. And that's another thing. This was a guy we thought for a long time, hey, he's not going to score a lot of touchdowns because he's not a very big dude. Well, last year he ranked number 3 in red zone targets among all wide receivers. He wasn't just a guy they used between the 20s anymore. He's getting red zone looks, and kind of like CeeDee Lamb, when you look at this offense, what do you got? You got Sam Laporta. Yeah, he's good for a tight end, but even still, this isn't a guy that's going to get 100-plus targets. You got Jameson Williams. Are we really expecting a major Jameson Williams breakout this year? And Josh Reynolds is gone, so even if Jameson Williams gets all of Josh Reynolds' targets, there's still plenty for Amon-Ra St. Brown here. Like I said, he is my dark horse pick to be the number 1 wide receiver outside of those kind of big 3 guys that we know can do it. I think he makes that CeeDee Lamb type of leap this year and does it and carries teams to fantasy championships. So I've got him just inside the top 5 at number 5. Now, number 6, back to running back, and I'm going to go with Breece Hall slightly over Bijan Robinson. You can flip a coin here if you like Bijan more. The reason why I give Breece the slightest of edges is because I know he's going to be the workhorse in this offense. Robert Saleh is not one of these guys that's going to give touches to every random guy. We saw last year, even before Breece Hall was really healthy, Robert Saleh just basically threw his hands up and said, fine, you're the guy. Go get all the touches. Even when Breece Hall was averaging like 1 yard per carry for 3 straight games or whatever it was, just keep giving him all the touches. And I really like this Jets offense this year. They bolster that offensive line, which is obviously a plus for a running back, but it's also a plus in the sense that it can keep Aaron Rodgers healthy. And they have an elite defense, which means the offense is going to get the ball back more. The offense is going to get the ball with short fields, more chances to score, more opportunities. Breece Hall has yet to average less than 16 points per game in his first 2 years. Obviously, year 1 tore his ACL. Last year, working his way back from ACL. Now fully healthy, fully removed from that ACL. Would not surprise me if Breece Hall goes over 20 points per game this year. And I feel the same way about Bijan Robinson at number 7, but I'm just a little more concerned about A, will he be treated as a workhorse? We don't know how this staff is going to treat him. Obviously, it's got to be better than what Arthur Smith did. But also B, even though this Falcons defense showed some improvement last year, it's still not going to be an elite defense. There's going to be times where the other team has the ball more than the Falcons do, and he just doesn't get as many opportunities. Obviously, having Kirk Cousins is going to be a big boost to the offense, and you got to love Bijan Robinson for that fact. And we know he's also an explosive runner, a great pass catcher. And I said before he was even drafted, I said I feel like Bijan Robinson is the type of running back that can be the first guy in history to have 1,500 rushing yards and 1,000 receiving yards. Will it be this year? Maybe, maybe not, but I think he's capable of it. That is the type of ceiling this guy has. Like I said, I just feel a little bit better about Breece Hall getting the usage in that Jets offense, and I feel better about the Jets team in general, but still, Bijan Robinson inside my top 7 at number 7. Now, this may be a bit surprising to people, but at number 8, I finally have Jamar Chase here. I don't really understand why Jamar Chase gets such a pass in fantasy. Like, I'm not saying Jamar Chase is bad. Jamar Chase has been great so far in his first 3 years, but he's only hit 20 points per game once in his entire career. That was the 2022 season when they went to the Super Bowl. I feel like Jamar Chase is just viewed as this guy who's been like this absolute unbelievable fantasy stud year after year, when really he's just been very good to great. Which there's nothing wrong with that. And like I said, I've got him in the top 10. I've got him at number 8. But there are some concerns here. Number 1, it doesn't seem like he or Joe Burrow can actually stay healthy for an entire season. Even in that season in 2022, he missed some games that year. And then, of course, Joe Burrow last year missed a bunch of games. And we've seen Jamar Chase without a good Joe Burrow does take a hit. He's not one of these guys like Justin Jefferson who just throw any quarterback out there and he'll be fine. If it's not Joe Burrow, even if Joe Burrow misses a few games, that's going to be a big hit to Jamar Chase. So I do think Jamar Chase has another gear, has another level. I don't think we've seen the best of Jamar Chase yet, but I also feel like he's being propped up on this kind of like what his potential could be. So I'm a little lower on him than most, but still, I've got him at number 8. It's not like I'm off of Jamar Chase or anything. At number 9, we're going with a rookie that was an absolute stud last year. Puka Nacua set the rookie record for yards and receptions. Granted, he got an extra game, but still, that's impressive. Kind of came out of nowhere. Nobody expected this guy to be as good as he was last year. But I'm locking him in inside the top 10 at number 9 because when I look at this Rams passing game, it seems obvious to me that it's going to run through Puka Nacua. Look, Cooper Kupp was great for his time, but he's in his 30s now. He's been dinged up the last couple of years. I don't think Cooper Kupp is going to be the alpha receiver in this offense anymore. I think it's going to be Puka Nacua, and I think he could legitimately be even better in year 2 than he was in year 1. And Matthew Stafford showed us last year that when he is healthy, he is still a very good QB, especially for fantasy. So Puka Nacua attached to a healthy Matthew Stafford as the number 1 wide receiver in a Sean McVay offense, definitely top 10 for me at number 9. Now at number 10, another Jet. Yeah, what year is this? We got 2 Jets in the top 10, but I'm putting Garrett Wilson in the top 10. It's pretty incredible that this guy has actually had 1,000 yards each of his first 2 seasons when he's played with legitimately some of the worst quarterbacks in the NFL. When you look at this guy over the first 2 years, the best quarterback he has played with is probably Joe Flacco, and then second best might be Mike White, honestly. I mean, it's been terrible for Garrett Wilson, but he's been good. No, he hasn't lived up to expectations, of course, but we got to assume Aaron Rodgers is going to stay healthy, play a full 17 games, and like I said with Breece Hall, they bolstered this offensive line, which is exactly what they needed to do. You just need to keep Aaron Rodgers healthy. I truly feel like the Jets are going to shock people with how good they are this year. They're going to be a playoff team, and like I said, that defense is going to give the offense tons and tons of opportunities and lots of short fields when they get turnovers. Garrett Wilson finally entering year 3, gonna show us his ceiling. I've got him at number 10. And then at number 11, how about another Detroit Lion? Again, what year? We 2 Jets, 2 Lions? What is going on here? But I think Jahmyr Gibbs is going to be a top 12 fantasy player this year. When you look at it from weeks 14 on, he actually had more carries than David Montgomery in 3 games, and he had 11 or more carries in 7 games. We already know he's a tremendous pass catcher, ranked 8th in targets among all running backs last year, was 15th in red zone targets. They used him in the red zone, and they started to use him more in high leverage situations, especially in the NFL playoffs. And I think that even goes up now that he's entering year 2. He's got the trust of the staff. He's got the trust of Dan Campbell. It would not shock me at all if he is the 1A and David Montgomery is more the 1B. And when you factor in his explosive ability, his playmaking ability, and his pass catching, that definitely gives him a great shot to be top 12. I'm putting him at number 11. Now at number 12, I'm putting a rookie in here. Yes, I'm doing it. Now I will say I considered A.J. Brown here, but when I look at A.J. Brown over the season, if we're talking about the top 12 scorers, yes, he gives you that incredible week-winning upside where he can drop 30-plus points on any given week, but he also goes stretches of games where he's kind of like secondary to Devonta Smith in this offense and just not doing a whole lot. So I feel like that volatility, while it's nice in your redraft leagues, it's nice on a weekly basis when he's winning you weeks, over the course of the season might keep him out of the top 12. I also consider Jonathan Taylor here. I think Jonathan Taylor is going to have a huge bounce back season this year and show everybody why he was the RB1 just a few years ago. But I'm going to go with rookie Marvin Harrison Jr. because I play in PPR leagues and I think that gives him the slightest edge over Jonathan Taylor. This is a guy, a generational talent in the mold of a Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, like one of these can't-miss wide receivers. I think he could have a year 1 similar to what we saw with Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, even Puka Nacua last year, landing in a perfect situation in this Arizona offense. New coaching staff here, a fully healthy Kyler Murray. And when you look at this passing tree, what do you got? You got Marvin Harrison Jr., clearly the number 1 wide receiver. You got Trey McBride, again, a tight end. He's not going to have 100-plus targets more than likely. And then what do you have behind him? Michael Wilson, a year 2 wide receiver who didn't do much as a rookie. I mean, Greg Dortch, a slot-only guy. Marvin Harrison is going to step in day 1, be ready to go, and already be the number 1 wide receiver in this Arizona offense. Don't be surprised if he has a season like we saw last year with Puka Nacua or a couple of years ago with Justin Jefferson, where he is a top 12 fantasy finisher in year 1. There's my predictions for this year's top 12 fantasy football scorers. Let me know who I got wrong. Who did I forget? But if you want to see some guys later in your draft that are must-have sleepers, you need to check out this video right here.